Hello and welcome to the channel. We are the Hollow Grumps. I am Colum.
And I'm Liam.
And we're here today to talk to you about the last episode of Star Trek Picard. Episode 10, Et al. In Arcadia Ego Part 2. But before we do that, obviously, if we get you to like, subscribe, and comment below, because it really helps the channel grow. So we really do appreciate it. And apologies to anyone who watched our dodgy live stream that happened about 3 seconds ago, but things have been a bit complicated just because we've been working from different places at the moment.
And with the current thing that's going on, we can't say its name, but you all know what it is. So we've changed our setup just for today's episode.
Yeah. So let's get into this episode. Who was this written by, Liam?
This was written by Michael Chabon and Akiva Goldsman. And Colin, did you take down who directed the episode?
It's kind of obvious. It was Akiva Goldsman.
Uh-oh. That's not good.
Right. Before we go into a big thing about the episode, what are your overall thoughts on the episode? Because there's no point in us just summarizing it and then going, yeah, well, it was okay. What do you think? What did you think of the episode?
It didn't really leave much of an impact on me. I'm not going to say I hated it, because there were some nice moments in it. And it was very predictable at a lot of points. We knew, well, I think it's set up in the last episode how this was going to end for the character of Jean-Luc Picard. And I won't give that away just now because we haven't gone into spoilers, but we will. But where we left off for this season, I'd be happy enough to go into season 2 with that, because we haven't ruined the franchise yet. And Colin.
Which is very, very, very lucky, because there's a lot of things going on in this episode, and a lot of it is hit and miss for me. But anything to do with a lot of the newer characters was quite hit and miss. But when I went back to some of the older characters, it was really nice to see them interacting again. I don't know, maybe I'm just a stickler for nostalgia.
Yeah, I liked when... Oh, yeah, sorry, we won't get into that. I think we'll just start with the review, because we'll end up going into spoilers before we've even covered what we have to say.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so the episode opens with our cold open with Narek arriving at the Borg cube. And we see Seven talking to Elrond, and she says that she has nowhere to go. She is just a lowly Xbox. And when Narek's sneaking around the Borg cube, Rizzo sneaks up behind him and with a knife, so maybe she couldn't recognize him. And
maybe she's just playing a game.
Yes, hide and seek. We jump back to the robot lab, and it was very hard to keep track of all the jumps back and forth in this episode. I tried, but at some point I just gave up marking where all the scene changes were. So if it gets a bit choppy, just apologies. So we jump back to the robot lab where Picard is playing with a butterfly. Now this could be symbolism for Picard later on in the episode. So Doji visits Picard, and we saw Jurati skulking around in the corridor, looking at what Doji is up to. Picard says, "Don't let the Romulans turn you into the monster that you fear. Stop building the beacon."
Don't light the beacon. The beacon of Minas Tirith is lit. Or whatever it was.
The whole thing that this episode, or this series has been based around.
The destroying, yeah.
The destroyers.
Destroy it.
And so we go back to Narek, who's loading up explosives to destroy the alien flowers. And we get a great line from Narek, which I loved. Narek, I don't want to just be known as Narek the Zatvash washout.
Oh, nobody knows who you are anyway, so I think that's going to be okay, to be honest.
Yeah.
He's a bit of a disappointment. All the stuff with him, like, it was actually marginally better than it used to be.
Except for the accent, I suppose. I think his accent got stronger in the episode.
Yeah, he kind of just... maybe that's his natural accent, but he kind of just gave up. I found that he was actually more enjoyable in this episode. Not that I'm saying it was a good episode by any major standards, but as an end to the Picard series, or season 1, it was as good as we were going to get, I think. It was predictable, but it was as good as we were going to get. A lot of the characters were very samey. No one grew outside of Soji.
I suppose.
In my opinion.
Soji barely even grew though as a character if you think about it. I mean, her little change could have happened at any point, and then she comes back to being who she was in the first place. So she kind of just tiptoed across the line and then came back to being who she was. I didn't find much of a change in her character. In fact, the change was just undone. It was just the circumstances she was in changed. I don't know. What's your take on that?
I think that the episode itself was really good for highlighting, how bad the state of Trek is at the moment. Just because they established something in the previous episode that Soji has this difficult choice to make whether she will be the destroyer. Don't let them make you what they say you are. And she kind of goes along with it. She's like, yeah, okay, I'll be the destroyer. I'll destroy you all. Ha 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 ha. And then she changes her mind because Picard says so. Don't be it. Don't do it. Anyway, back to this summary of life.
So Narek heads off on his merry way out of the Borg cube, and Elrond follows him. So we go back to the HMS Grande, and Rios is using some kind of psychic repair device to fix the HMS Grande.
Yeah, where did that come from?
I don't know. There were a lot of loose ends that kind of appeared during this episode, and were never really wrapped up.
I thought I was paying attention. I thought I was paying attention to all these little things. Like, there obviously wasn't.
It's actually slipped my mind now. In the last episode, did Rios and Raffi actually go to Synthville, as Raffi called it?
No.
In episode 9. No, they didn't. No. They stayed with the ship.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they had to repair it. Then where did that device come from? Because they were left alone on the ship.
Did they? God, I can't remember now.
There's so much jumping back and forth that goes on that it's gone.
Yeah, the narrative. Remember. There's a lot of good things in the episode, but the narrative is very all over the place.
And there are a lot of characters in this episode that their storyline just didn't go anywhere. It didn't wrap up. Colin, let me ask you, what happened to Narek at the end of this episode?
Oh, he, oh no. Oh dear. Did he,
Maybe one of our viewers can comment in the chat below to let us know what happened to Narek in this episode.
Oh no.
Where did he wind up?
I can't remember now.
Did he run away with Sutra?
Jeez, I can't remember now. I'm drawing a blank. What was the last thing he did?
Well, him and
wait, spoilers, yeah.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I think we'll go on ahead. Okay.
Yeah.
So, Rios knows. Oh, sorry. So they get their whilst Rios and Jurati are fixing the Grande, they start to hear this knocking outside the ship, and Rios says, "I know that sound," and we run out to the bridge of the ship. They look out the view screen, and it's Narek throwing rocks at the window of the ship.
Get away from my ship, you damn kids!
And I want to know, how often does this happen on the HMS Grande that Rios knows the sound? I know the sound of Romulans throwing rocks against my ship.
Damn space rocks.
Yeah, and he's shouting at him, "Hey, it's me, it's Narek, I'm standing outside and throwing the rocks at you."
Stop, let me in, come on, we've got to blow up that signal.
So they start having a meeting inside, and I was trying to figure out, is Narek actually trying to double agent them? Is he really
triple agent?
Triple agent them. But during this scene, Elrond shows up, and Narek chooses to live.
Which is a good choice.
Yeah.
If only everyone else had chosen to live. I choose to live.
So I've written down below crypto kung fu, and I can't remember who said this. I think it was Jurati.
It was Sung. Was it? No. It was Sung. Yeah, complimenting Maddox.
No. Oh. It was Jurati speaking of Jurati says that Maddox said to her that Soon has great crypto kung fu.
But I don't imagine any point where Maddox would have brought up Sung. To this point, he hasn't existed. It's not as if they've gone, well, why don't we just consult Sung? He's an expert on robotics as well. No, there's no point where she would have had a conversation with Maddox about Sung, because Maddox went to that planet and she never saw him again until she killed him.
And Girardi never thought to say to Picard in the first episode that, oh yeah, there also happens to be another expert in cybernetics, cybernetics. Sorry,
Yeah.
there happens to be another expert in cybernetics. His name is Soong. No, it's just Maddox who's missing.
But then, of course, Narek goes on to tell the story of Gamadan.
I didn't take any notes on this. I was like,
Well,
this isn't very relevant.
It's a nice way of painting the Romulan culture, but it is just pointless to me. A bit irrelevant. I got bored listening to it because they start going, it's like Ragnarok, and all I could think of was Ramadan because they just basically took the name and put a G in front of it.
That's what I was hearing, yeah.
Yeah.
But I suppose considering all the stuff that we have to wrap up, well, I suppose there's not that much to wrap up. Everything neatly stuck itself into this episode at the end, except for, where some of our characters ended up. But if you think about everything we have to wrap up, and then we have Narek sitting down telling his story about Gamadan.
Yeah. Around a fire. They've a ship beside them, and they go camping by the fire.
Well, they just want some fresh air. They've been stuck in that ship for far too long now. And sure, Narek flew all the way there in his little shuttle. Probably couldn't even stand up or walk around in that thing.
Bless him. Poor guy.
Oh, poor Narek. So we get our montage scene of Narek's putting together a team.
Yeah.
Boom, 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 boom. And so we get our cutting back and forward between the ship and
them actually executing the plan, is it?
Yeah.
There was about 3 minutes I missed of this entire episode, and I'll never get them back because I've no intention of watching it again. But as far as I know, I got as far as them walking up to the gate with the football and those two bald palookas getting in their way.
Yeah, the palookas want to search them. They want to search their bags. But they don't have scanners or anything, which is what I thought was strange. So they're just going to do a general bag search. So, what's his name? Rios can walk in with a bomb stuck inside a football, as if they're not going to scan him, as if they're just going to say...
They have all this technology to make murder flowers and a little device that'll fix anything, and they can't detect a bomb inside a leather football. In the
25th century? I mean, I couldn't get a bomb stuck inside a football into
Wouldn't
Disneyland.
It jingle? Like when he does, he volleys it at one point, and I was like, wouldn't it go?
Oh no, I just mean if you go to any theme park, like when I was in Orlando, we went to Disneyland. They had X-rays for big devices like that. So you're not going to be able to get, especially in this place, which is meant to be this top secret synth base. You're not going to be able to just walk in with a football containing a bomb.
If only. Oh.
If only. So I've just skipped on ahead here. So Picard and Girardi head off to the Grande because they just conveniently walk out of the place. Nobody bothered to try stop them. And Picard can finally fly the Grande.
It took him a while.
Yeah.
It was great. It was actually brilliant. I don't know if I'm skipping ahead. I am skipping ahead. Actually, no, I'm not, because it was brilliant the way he references the Stargazer and the Picard maneuver. And that's how they figure it out. No, she goes, oh yes, we do something like I don't know, I think we'll call that the Picard maneuver. Oh wait, no, that's actually a thing. And he's like, oh well, it was on the Stargazer, not the Enterprise, and blah 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 blah. And that's how they figure out how to do this little trick of making thousands of ships.
Yeah,
I think it's brilliant.
I was expecting it to just be a gag at the Picard maneuver, and she'd say, wait, no, that's actually a thing. And he'd go, and then
pull
down his shirt. Luckily, that didn't happen.
Yeah, it actually became a plot point, which is, God, I can't believe I'm saying this, it was good writing. I thought it was.
Let's not give them too
by
much
the
credit.
Standard of this.
Okay, so
I skipped a load there because that was the 3 minutes I missed.
Okay, I see what's happened there. So the only thing I didn't like was Jurati was the one to say "make it so."
Did she?
Yeah, they were taken off from the ship, and then Jurati goes, "Okay, make it so," and he kind of does. Picard does his wink at the camera, and okay, he didn't actually
Did he
wink.
wink? Did he? Look, I'm just as clueless as you are. So if you tell me he winked,
Picard, make it so. No. Uh,
engage.
so I have Gold Doji written down. I can't remember what happened with Gold Doji,
She
but
got turned off. You told me she got turned off.
oh yeah, yeah. Soong takes Gold Doji to the side, and it's like, oh, here's your mockingbird thing, and oh, one other thing. Why did you kill the suit, whatever her name was, and then deactivates her. And then, so the humans then go to town on the androids and start beating them up. And it's
Androids.
yeah, he goes to town on the androids and start beating them up. Are Data and Doshi the only super enhanced androids that have like super strength and stuff? Because the others just get their asses handed to them.
I guess so. I think that answers the question then. Imagine they just tried to punch them and nothing happened. Oh.
And I'd also like to point out that this is where Narek and Sutra's stories end for this season.
Thank you for viewing.
Thank you for being a part of this show. So Rizzo and Seven have a big fight on the Borg cube.
I wanted Duel of the Fates to play.
Yeah, and of course Seven kicks Rizzo into a pit
of oblivion.
And of course, this is just a setup so they can bring Rizzo back because she's such a fan favorite character.
She'll come back as a cyborg.
Yes.
She'll use Borg tech to come back.
Oh no! Don't give them ideas. I can just imagine her rising out of the
queen,
the abyss. Yeah, as a queen. Oh, that's what she's gonna do. She's gonna become queen of that Borg cube. Because remember, she said, "I would have been a much better Borg than you." And she'll be like a secret agent Borg in season 2.
Please don't do that. Section 31 with Rizzo.
So at the same time that all of this is going on, we have our big thousands of spaceships in space battle. So the Romulans are facing off against a load of plants in outer space. And they eventually destroy the plants. And this is where Picard executes the Jurati maneuver.
Is that what we're calling it?
Sure, why not? Because we already have the Picard maneuver, so we have to call it.
Actually, it's actually a Riker maneuver because Riker did it in that episode when they were training. Remember?
Yes. Well, it's been done a number of times in Star Trek. Like they had the Voyager episode, where they're facing off against whatever species they were fighting. I can't remember, and like the Doctor gets accidentally shot into space with all the holographic stuff going on.
Nope, don't remember.
It happened, and he's like,
"I'm not crazy."
Well, that's what I remember. That's what I think of when I think of holographic ships fighting in space.
Lame.
So we get our introduction to Captain Riker once again on board.
Captain Riker.
The USS Shen Minnow.
Did you not type it down?
No, I didn't. All I was thinking when they showed up was like, whoa, this is such a clear picture of the budget of this show. Where they spent all their money
on flowers.
Because every single ship is the exact same.
No, they're not. There's one that's different.
Picard's ship?
No.
The Grande?
No, there's a few. I'm sure there's different ships. I actively looked out for different ships there, and I was like, yeah, that one has 4. That one has 2 nacelles. Maybe my eyesight's really bad.
Yeah, we need to relook at that. Maybe because
we don't need to relook at it. No.
There were so many of them stacked on top of each other that, to my
viewing... But also, I'd like to add, space is not two-dimensional. Like, it's not a flat plane. Like, why did they all just appear in front of the planet? Why didn't they just appear around the Romulans tactically?
All at different angles.
Yeah, at different vectors, just pointing at them.
They did that well in Star Trek Discovery in the first episode, I know, where the the Shenzhou is sitting there, and then the Klingon barge ship, whatever it is, that
Comes
shows
from
up.
above.
Yeah, comes up, and they're all like these two awkward angles, and it's all I was thinking of was like TNG, where
You'd
every time a
never get
ship
that.
showed up, they'd both be just flat out facing each other. Maybe
Maybe,
one would be a
maybe
little higher.
maybe it was a Starfleet regulation that all ships must be, uh, starboard to back. I don't know.
Yeah, it kind of makes it feel
On the
like
same
space is
plane.
on a two-dimensional plane. Yeah,
Yeah.
but of course it's not. So there is no upside down. Um, so O keeps on trying to fire at the planet, and we get the great villain scene. This is before Starfleet showed up, sorry. And she keeps saying, "Okay, prepare to fire. On my mark, get ready to
Just
fire."
shoot.
It's yeah. You may fire when ready.
Shoot.
Yeah, just fire. Just destroy this place.
Like, there should be no ceremony. Glass the planet and be done with it.
Yeah.
Why didn't they could have done that with one ship. They could have just arrived with one ship, a few photon torpedoes. Okay, that's it. Good. Right. Bye.
No, you have to remember they had to face off against the flowers.
But they could have fired a torpedo past the flowers.
How do you know the flowers don't have like extra tentacles on them that'll grab the torpedoes?
Torpedoes move very fast.
So Doji manages to assemble the relay, the thing, and sends a message off to the Sint Federation, who just comprises of a load of like snake-like tentacly cybernetic
It's
arms.
Dr. Octopus from Spider-Man 2. It is.
Trying to-
That's where they got the footage. Like the tentacles even talk. Like they have little mouths, and it's exactly like that. So it's from Spider-Man 2. I don't care what anyone says.
I hope you've given that idea to someone, and somebody's going to pace like Dr. Octopus.
His eyes in the
walking
background.
out. Yeah. Oh, it'd be great. So so they're trying to claw their way through the wormhole, and I was thinking, this is it. This has been the whole secret of the Zat Vash, the premise of the whole show. These tentacly cybernetic arms trying to claw their way
Maybe
through.
that was
red.
only a small part of it, like a tiny part.
We'd assume so. Yeah.
They're not just tentacles. There's something that they're attached to.
Are they going to be giant? Are they going to like encompass the whole
We
planet?
will never know
they-
because, they live in red space.
Yeah. Oh, the lucky ones. So Starfleet and the Romulans leave, and Picard passes out. My work here is finished.
Oh, my paychecks have run out.
So Picard dies, and Rios and Seven sit watching the sunset. Then we get to see Seven. Oh, Seven says that in future I will try not to kill people because it's what they deserve, even if I do think it's making the world a better place. Like she's having this sudden realization now after she's ruthlessly killed.
I would argue that it is good that she does not want to kill people. I think it's one of those things. She makes it seem like a character flaw. Oh yeah, can't help it. Said I'd never kill someone again, but it did. Go life,
I think it's their way of trying to insert optimism into the show,
Stop
or what
killing
they
people.
think to be optimism. Yeah. So Elrond cries over Picard. I actually thought it was sad. I thought it was
a
like,
good
I
bit
feel a
of
little bit
action.
bad for Elrond. Yeah, poor Elrond. And so we get into our reused Borg cube set, which now has a fireplace stuck into it. And Data and Picard are having a conversation. It meandered a little bit. Overall, I thought it was a nice scene.
Yeah.
What did you
I
think?
thought it was one of the better scenes of the episode.
Like these type of concepts would have made a really good premise for the show if that stuck to being like the main storyline. But we had all this messy nuisance at the Zat Vash.
Imagine Picard actually had that at his house, and every time he went into it, Data was brand new, as in he didn't remember their last conversation inside it, and it was always as if he just left him at the end of Nemesis. That'd be interesting, but different show.
Why did they have that random Borg cube set up for Data's consciousness? Surely he could put them in Picard's chateau, which is where Picard seems to spend all this time.
Why
he
are
had
you
his
saying it
hologram.
was the Borg set? It was just grey.
Oh no, it was the Borg set. When he was walking out, you can see the Borg walls in the background and everything.
Oh,
It was the Borg cube
mm,
set that they were using.
it was just lame. That budget, they ran out of
Yeah.
money in the last episode.
They couldn't get access to the chateau
Yeah, they
anymore.
couldn't pay for Spiner and Frakes at the same time.
Yeah. So yeah, so then Picard walks into the light and he's been reborn anew. He's now a golem. And Data requested Picard to terminate his consciousness before he
Kill him.
leaves because he wants the ultimate human experience to not exist.
Okay.
As if he's got to learn from that, yeah. So we get our blue sky scene with Data. And did you find this really creepy? Like
No,
he's sitting there with his
I
wine,
didn't.
like
I didn't. I didn't actually find it creepy at all.
the camera panning up under Data, being like blue skies, and he's sniffing his glass of
No,
wine.
actually,
Well, I
I actually
did.
didn't. Like, I thought it was a bit heavy-handed. It was a bit on the nose. It was as if he was someone was gonna come with a gun and shoot him, and he was just getting his last sip of wine. But I don't think it was that bad. I don't think it was creepy or anything like that. I think it was nice the way as he unplugged stuff, he got older as if he was decaying, which was kind of cool. And it was nice in the way that this was Data's preconceived notion of how someone would die with dignity. That's what I think. Someone would have their last sip of wine, they'd go and they'd lie comfortably on their couch, and he created Picard to be there to comfort him as he died. So he had someone with him when he passed away. So to be honest, I think it was actually pretty okay.
No, I had no problem with the beats of the scene. It was the execution of it. It was the I don't know. It was kind of felt like there was this sexual tension that had built up where his expectations for what it's going to be like to die because of the way it was executed. That's the way I felt about it. I think personally it would have been poignant enough just to have them unplug the device and then maybe just to show inside the simulation of Data disappearing.
They just unplug it and he just die.
No, no, I don't mean like that. It shows like him sitting down in the simulation and then he just vanishes.
Like a
Not
hologram.
a unplug it. Yeah, not an unplug and then he goes.
Yeah.
But of course, you're gonna have some people that will
I
say
think it was. I
with this.
think it was done quite tastefully, as it could have been done a lot worse. I think it could have been done. I suppose we'll disagree on it, but I think it could have been done a lot worse than it was.
Yes, yes, it could have been. So, like I said, it was just I felt something creepy about it.
Imagine,
But
imagine they had actually gotten all the old cast back to appear for that scene.
yeah, where's LaForge?
Where's Michael Dorn?
Were they trying to set up that Data and Picard actually had a secret crush on each other?
Okay, I think you're reading too much into the term love.
That's what I seriously hope it wasn't. But I was getting at that some people probably will read into that, and we're going to have all these fan fictions written about Picard and Data's time spent in the simulation.
Yes.
What did they get up to?
How did Data spend his time in a simulation for 30 years?
Oh no. Oh no. So then we get our montage of everyone returning to the ship, and oh sorry, and of course everyone's seen the episode. But Picard's golem isn't augmented, so the only thing that's been changed about it is he doesn't have the brain abnormality, but he still will have a normal lifespan.
And they gave
etc.,
him back
etc.
his metallic heart. Imagine.
Yes,
Imagine. It's good to.
they gave him a full head of hair.
And some new teeth.
He did look very radiant, though, I have to say.
Yeah, they kind of de-aged him. Well, I reckon they aged him for this series, and they just pulled it back a bit.
Yeah,
Because
maybe.
I know Patrick Stewart himself is in great shape for his age.
I know him personally, in fact.
I know for a fact, because at the moment he's going on Facebook every day and reading sonnets for people.
Yes, he is. That's and then he put up a thing saying that Star Trek's now available for free on CBS.
For free?
Yes, Picard is available for free. That's how popular the show is.
These are difficult times. Anyway, let's move on with this because apparently Raffi and Seven fall in love.
Yeah, they had this scene where they were like sharing a drink, and then they join hands, like, you know, the typical scene of couples getting together, and they interlock fingers.
Yeah. Okay. Whatever. Sure. Whatever. Because
Sorry,
it just
Chakotay.
came a bit too quickly after Raffi. Or sorry, it came a bit too quickly after Agnes and Rios. Like literally, it was like everyone's coupling up. What next? Picard and Elrond?
Don't give them ideas. Stop. Stop.
So,
Picard and Doji.
oh.
So, Colin, what are your thoughts on the show now moving
Moving
forward?
forward. Well, I have to say, I'm glad they didn't recast. I'm glad they didn't recast Stewart, I suppose. I'm glad that this golem has 20 years to live, I guess. But I will say that it seems like a bit of a waste of all that work to save a 94-year-old man. Not that I don't love Picard, but in the grand scheme of things, it was something a bit wasted to save a 94-year-old man who'd gone out with a bang, you know?
Yeah, what's he gonna do next?
What other service can he provide except for another season?
I mean, we all know the show is eventually going to end with Picard being killed or dying,
I
sacrificing
really
himself.
hope he gets trapped in the Nexus. I do.
Maybe he becomes a Q. Maybe he joins the Continuum.
Well, that debunked one of our earlier thoughts that the Q were behind it all, you know?
Yeah, I suppose so. Well, we still don't know. It's possible Q was pulling some strings behind the scenes.
Yeah, with all these plot holes, it could be.
Look, I think that they dipped their feet into the water. They made some headway. The show wasn't an absolute train wreck. It was a bit boring at some points. It meandered a lot. But where they left off, they have a new cast. They've all been established. A fresh-faced Patrick Stewart moving forward. And yes, and it potentially could be a great season 2 because don't forget, Shaban is gone.
It almost rhymes.
He's no longer the show. Shaban's no longer the show runner. He's out of the stadium. Maybe they can find somebody better. I mean, because it'd be hard to do.
To be
worse.
honest, the episode itself, it was not as bad as a lot of the other episodes. It was there were parts I really enjoyed about it. There were parts that I was guffawing at, and I was so just sighing unbelievably. But there were parts that I was like, yeah, this is actually quite enjoyable. Like, I'm actually really, really enjoying this episode. There are, like, they need to cut down on jumping from topic to topic, never really sticking on things. They need to stop treating it like a movie and just tell a good story.
Agreed. They really need to let the show breathe. And we saw that in the Nepenthe episode, where characters were now having conversations as opposed to just stating points back and forth to one another.
It was brilliant that Riker was like, yes, well, I can't just stay on my forest making pizzas all day.
Yeah, it's like they preemptively knew that all fans would just say, oh, hey, there's Riker just making pizzas, making a pizza the entire day long.
I loved it. I actually really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I just really like Frakes in general. I really like him. And he could probably, in my opinion, he could probably do no wrong. But anyway.
He's such a warm personality that it lights up the screen. So, yeah, I think we'll wrap it up there, will we?
Yes, Liam, if you want to close us out there.
Okay, so if you liked what you saw here and you want to see more, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button and comment below if you have any suggestions for what you'd like us to cover. At the moment, we're currently watching Kingdom on Netflix, so we'll probably do a review on that as soon as we're both finished season 2. But until then, for the Hologrumps, I'm Liam.
And I'm Colum.
Existence is futile.